Welcome back, everybody. This is the Miami Marlins franchise, and we have finished 3 years now in the franchise. We're going through another offseason today. After taking this team from 51 victories in Season 1 up to 60 and now 75 in this last year. We're making a lot of progress. The team has gotten a lot better and very intriguing with talents like Hank Holder, now the face of this franchise. Number 1 pick during Season 2 and just finished an entire season at the major leagues at 18 years old. He's the Rookie of the Year. He's signed to a $200+ million contract. He is the biggest building block this franchise has. I think now, after a season like we just have, you wonder, can this start to be a playoff contending team going into Season 4? I think that still could be a little early. We're going to have a young roster where guys like Johnny Grieve, the first pick of the series, are going to be developing. So much of that is going to rely on how much these players actually develop. Because I'm not necessarily going into this offseason trying to make a free agent splash. I have to balance leaving playing time opportunities for players that I want to see become everyday stars, and then look at spots where maybe a free agent does make sense. I wonder about an additional starting pitcher. I think we could afford it, and it would be a nice experiment to think about if we can find a number 2 or 3 pitcher that doesn't force us to break the bank. We have Eury Perez, who's the young ace of this team, and then a lot of hopeful talents like Robbie Snelling, who's coming off a really nice first year, Noble Meyer as well. It'd be nice to kind of split the difference in those talent levels, and maybe you'd think like Ryan Weathers is that guy, but I think I'll be trading him at some time today. He has only 1 season left of team control, and I'm expecting his arbitration salary this year to go up even higher than $12 million. And if we're going to spend that much a year on a pitcher, I think we just need to get a little bit more out of that pitcher, and we'll see if we can do that in free agency at all. Weathers is not bad, but I don't think a 1 to 2 WAR pitcher at over $10 million a year is good for a team in the Marlins situation where we have a smaller budget than most of the league. We had a $91 million payroll this year. We do have room to add more now. But with a big contract already there for Hank Holder and maybe some big deals down the road for the likes of Evan Carter or Eury Perez, kind of have to be a little careful. At the same time, if I make some signings, those players are potentially still very tradable. So we'll see if I can find the right opportunities here in this postseason. I simmed a little bit too quickly at the end of last episode, and I didn't get our regular season team rankings, which I've been trying to keep track of the entire series. So I didn't get to see like where we ranked in terms of home runs and batting average or ERA. I'm missing that, but I know we were a much improved team. No Hall of Famers this year. After 2027, we move on, and it's time to look at exclusive free agents. Won't take us long. We don't have any. However, I do want to start this season by making sure we have enough room for the new rookies. I lost a player last year that I did not release. We ended up losing J.J. Kohler to the Angels, and I can only think it was possibly because I had too many players on roster, and they just dropped the lowest rated guy, and it happened to be Kohler, who I wish was still, with our team, but who knows, maybe we'll get him back at some point. I wanted to start by opening up a couple 40-man roster spots, as we apparently have 41 on there right now. So we're going to be removing Liam Hicks, and all these players I remove will then have to pass through waivers, of course. Eric Wagaman, I'll remove from the 40-man roster. I could potentially see him getting claimed somewhere. Calvin Fauché is going to be released, and Declan Cronin as well. And then I'll truly release some players so that we hopefully don't run into a roster conflict this year. These are all contracts I'm choosing not to renew. We'll have some different minor league players at some spots this season. All of these players would be looking for basically a major league minimum contract. But we've seen our payroll jump pretty high in this game because of all the players hitting arbitration, and arbitration salaries are a lot more valuable in this game. We have 15 players on this list. And knowing that Ryan Weathers made nearly 12 last year, I think I'd rather get a deal done with Perez than have this actually go to arbitration. But on some players like Evan Carter, I will see what arbitration ends up giving us, because he'd be looking for about $14 million otherwise. So I have to kind of make some of these offers knowing there's going to be a sizable jump for some players. So I'm going to go $8.5 million on my offer to Carter. I don't really have a whole science to my arbitration offers. I just kind of go off of what feels right, knowing this game the numbers go higher. Arbitration is still oftentimes better than just signing a player to a one-year salary, just not all the time. I'm even wondering if we have to look into a possible trade soon with Estieri Ruiz, because if I want to sign him to, say, a multi-year contract, he has 1 year left of team control. That number's already at about $9-10 million a season, which is a bit higher than I expected. This is what I signed up for. It's why I picked the Marlins. I wanted difficulties regarding contracts in this series, and I'm certainly getting it. We're starting to ramp up into those difficult decisions and those difficult off seasons. I don't think I've quite seen the extent that we could be dealing with maybe year 6, year 7, but the groundwork is being laid for some really tough decisions I don't normally have to make in franchise. And the thing is, too, is like if we have a 26-man roster, 15 players on arbitration, we have Hank Holder signed long-term, that's 16 of 26 players who are making a pretty big salary. Only 10 are making more so the minimum in those first 3 years. Now, we have some prospects that are going to change that, and it's probably going to have to happen here in the next year as we start to cycle out some older players who aren't even that old. But just, that's the way the Marlins got to play ball. So I have offered arbitration to every player eligible for it. But we could see a Ryan Weathers trade and possibly Dane Myers at 78. I think he has some trade value as he seeks out like a $4 to $5 million contract. So with $81 million then in arbitration and renewable estimates, it's leaving us with about $43 million in our actual budget. Here are some players that would be Rule 5 eligible this year, and the one I really want to get on the 40-man roster is going to be reliever Xavier Curry. I think that he has ratings that could help him play well at the majors with good walk per 9, home run per 9. I don't see him as a high leverage guy, but a solid middle reliever. Despite higher ratings or a higher overall rating, I've just been less impressed with Declan Cronin to this point. Cronin also 30 years old, so we're going to risk losing him in the Rule 5. I'm not too worried about it. But how about free agency now? Does anything make sense for our Marlins this year? And keep in mind, has to be reciprocated by the player to want to come here, and that has been difficult to make players interested in the Marlins. If there's anything I'm looking at this year, I would think a pitcher, and specifically someone who has a little more upside than Ryan Weathers, which I think you get through strikeouts. I'm also interested in power. I think we cover a lot of other stuff on this team. If I can find the right power bat, I'm always interested. Jock Peterson was that guy a year ago. Starting pitcher, center field, and first base are my priorities. And here's the board. Justin Steele is the #1 available free agent, they're saying, despite Logan Gilbert being better potential, better overall, younger. Maybe they're saying that Steele had the best season last year. His demand is higher than Gilbert. So it is interesting in this game how it's not solely off of overall with these contract demands. Like, WAR for Gilbert was lower than Steele, so Steele is ranked higher, asking for more money. You know, I play a lot more Madden than MLB The Show typically, so I'm not used to this situation right here, which is really nice in this series because if there's a guy who's good, but he didn't have a good season last year, then maybe they make sense to bring in to our team. As I go through starting pitchers, obviously it gets pretty expensive here on the higher end. Joe Ryan, $23 million, and Man, the Twins are having almost their entire rotation hit free agency here. But a Joe Ryan caliber player is something I'm interested in. The cost is just a little much. But that's what starting pitchers go for. Oh, a reliever definitely makes some sense for us as well. A true late inning guy. Joan Duran is out there, and hard to find a closer more exciting than him at times. Love watching him as a Twins fan. And his splitter goes way higher than 92 miles per hour. They're about 5 or 6 miles per hour off with that one. So a late inning guy, you know, under 10 million. I think this would be a really good year to target a guy. And one name catching my eye is Brusdar Graterol, only 29, but ooh, yeah, that strikeout upside there. That kind of sounds a bit like a deal breaker to me. Oh well, we're already seeing Adley Rutschman be a free agent. I suppose we're going into season 4, so a lot of things will have changed by now. At first base, there's Wilson Contreras. Pete Alonso's already available again. And I like the contract, you know, possibilities there. So here are the 3 targets I have in mind to begin free agency. At the top priority, we have Isaac Paredes. And if he were to sign with us, that might take over the spot held by Jonah Bride. He has a higher overall offensive upside. He's a couple years younger. He has a bunch of really nice quirks to have as well. So I want to gauge interest here on a few guys. You know, there were some pitchers I liked more than Jordan Hicks, but I'm also trying to factor in who do I think we could actually potentially get, knowing that sometimes it takes multiple weeks to actually build interest here with these players. It's a little risky here with Hicks coming off a career season far and away better than all the recent. So this is kind of the opposite of what I want to do, where I'd like to get a guy just coming off a random down year. But I still think Hicks kind of fits the skill set that I've been looking for, and a little bit higher K per 9 than a lot of the guys out there with like a dozen starting pitchers who should garner more interest. And then Griffin Jax. I think he could end up being the late inning guy for us. There are so many good ratings with pitching clutch at 96. And he's been closing games the last few years for Minnesota anyway. The Mets, meanwhile, are trying to bring in closer Jeff Hoffman. We're not going to get into that one. And here we do have Jordan Hicks already 55% motivation to sign with us. And we're not seeing any other teams interested in Paredes or Hicks right now. This is a good start. We could get the first offer out there. The thing is, I didn't really want to offer 4 years, $20 million. I do want to go less years. So I might want to wait a little bit to raise that motivation. Let's play it out slow. Alex Bregman ends up signing with the Yankees, getting 1 year, $19.8 million. Not quite the 40 a year he had signed in Boston. Adley Rutschman signs with the Texas Rangers. 6 years, $113.4 million. 18.9 for a high-level catcher feels pretty good to me. I think the Rangers got a good deal there. And the number 1 player in free agency, Justin Steele, signs a big 4-year deal with the Yankees for $148 million. So that's what happens when a guy gets really hot with 90 overall there. Sometimes he gets more than other players rated better. And now we have the Rays. Why are they our rivals? Just because they're in Florida? They're trying to add Cal Raleigh right now. We're not going to get into that one. We have Jordan Hicks now 65% motivated to sign, and it doesn't seem anyone's offered to him yet. So I think ideally I'd love to offer something more in like the 2-year, $17 million a year range, which would have about 50% motivation right now. So I think we still wait. We haven't gotten that many notifications, but now we got Griffin Jax. It's a now or never situation. All right, so we're going to have to offer a deal here, I think. And to make us enticing, we're going to have to go up 2 years, $12 million per year. I think is a decent offer. I don't think this gets it done necessarily, but it's 20% over the demand. That's my offer to Griffin Jax. Here's his decision. Do we have a new closer this year? Griffin Jax decides He's going to the Arizona Diamondbacks. He took less. 1 year, $9.9 million. I offered 2 years, $24 million. You can't say I didn't try. What do you mean their offer was too good to pass up? Luis Castillo signs a deal in Chicago, 2 years, $54.9 million. So there's a $10 million per year discrepancy between him and Justin Steele, despite 3 difference in overall. You got guys coming off different seasons, players that are different ages. Pablo Lopez, 1 year, $31.3, going to the Giants. Logan Gilbert, the Braves make a big splash. 7 years, $35.6 million a year. That's $250 million. Oh, come on. The Yankees want Paredes. We're losing this. The thing is, too, I'm not offering the years he wants. Why can't I go under 3? Why does it have to be 3? I can't offer a 2-year deal? I mean, 3 years on a 29-year-old hitter like Paredes, not bad, but I'm confused why I have to stay in like the neighborhood of their demand, I guess. I have to be at least within 2 years. I'm going to make an offer here to Jordan Hicks. 2 years, $16 million a year. This has 57 motivation. So a lot lower than he wants. But that's a good offer, right? A decision has apparently been made. And the signing is Jordan Hicks saying no. If you're trying to get me to sign elsewhere, you're succeeding. I'm less likely to sign with you now. Come on, man. All right, it's the draft lottery again. We have picked number 1 in this series. And the pick of Hank Holder helped us now have the 10th best odds of picking at number 1. But it's going to be tougher for us to get those super high level prospects now, as we're expected to pick lower. But where are we selecting when the year 4 draft rolls around? Projected at 10, and the Marlins will pick at 10. The Chicago White Sox will get the number 1 overall pick. So the draft does get a little tougher for us. I believe that is the latest our first round pick will have ever been in this series. All right, we are not getting Joan Duran, 29% motivation. I can take a hint. Now or never on Isaac Paredes. Sure, I'll go get turned down again. 3 years, 11.6 per year. Best I can do. Final offer. Yep, going to the Yankees. Was never winning that one. He signed for 6 years. And Carlos Correa now, oh, that's not a signing, that's a trade. Carlos Correa traded to the Brewers for Brandon Woodruff as the Twins lose a bunch of starting pitching this year, and they get infielder Nick Allen. Now it's time for the Rule 5 draft, and we've made some Rule 5 picks in this series. I just don't think that this year there's anything I really want to achieve, as the White Sox are acquiring a pitcher. And then the Rockies will take Jordan Groshans, Nelly Taylor to the Rays. But how about us? I mean, just taking a chance on a reliever every year has kind of been my main strategy to this point. I don't think a starting pitcher makes much sense. We could add Victor Vodnik with B potential. There's Shintaro Fujinami, throwback to the A's franchise. Kind of interesting. Otherwise, for position players, just doesn't feel like a good year to really target it. Brian De La Cruz is out there, but we don't need the extra veteran outfield depth if it's not going to be someone higher rated. I'm passing this year on the Rule 5 draft. William Contreras signs a deal now with the Orioles to replace Adley Rutschman. He actually signed for more money, too, so kind of an interesting flip there. Meanwhile, I've added Brian Abreu to the board. He's only looking for around $7 million a year, so this would put him in the Emilio Pagan contract range. And the strikeout numbers have been really solid, so I will be giving him a good offer. No one's going to say my offer's bad this time. About 2 years, $14.5 million's my offer. And I think that Jordan Hicks ought to reconsider my first offer, but I'll come a little bit up. 2 years, 17.5. Joe Ryan got 5 years, 125, so I was never going to get that high this offseason. Now we're never on Brian Abreu. I just made my offer. I'm sticking with it. I'm not getting beat by the Angels. Oh, I guess I am. They went 3 years. We have a decision. All right, Jordan Hicks has picked up the phone. He has a message to send all of you. Jordan Hicks, that's a contract in front of him, and he signs 2 years, $17.5 million. His demand was 4 years, $20.7. So, Jordan Hicks is our big addition so far as Teoscar Hernandez goes to the Diamondbacks. But I think I achieved what I said I wanted here, like another 2 or 3 in the rotation with higher strikeout upside that I could sign to a more team-friendly deal than I felt like Weathers was. Weathers made like 12 last year, and I think he's worse than Jordan Hicks. So to get Hicks for around 17 and 5 overall higher, potentially a really good deal for us, and only going 2 years helps us mitigate risk. So I think then you're looking at a rotation this year that has Yuri Perez, Jordan Hicks, Max Meyer, Noble Meyer, and Robbie Snelling. Reynaldo Lopez. Nope, I've already signed a starting pitcher. I'm still interested in relievers, though, after losing a couple times. I've made an offer to Jose Alvarado to potentially be our closer. I think I made a very strong offer there. There we go. Jose Alvarado does sign. Just took a few tries, but I'm expecting him to be our closer now this season. I love that 99 or 98 pitching clutch. He hasn't really been a full-time closer, but definitely been a late inning guy throughout his career. And it's a 1-year, $7.4 million deal. I haven't looked into too many position players. Paredes was different because I thought that the value for the offense was really good. But I think we have a lot of outfielders who are going to get chances this next year. And I don't think there's just a big need to add a free agent position player this year. And I still have the chance to make some trades. So we're taking it easy here during free agency. Shane McClanahan to the Guardians, 7 years, $206 million. And now we get our arbitration hearings, and we lose the battle for Dylan Coleman. We actually won the hearing for Evan Carter. He'll make $8.5 million. Max Meyer's going to make roughly the same. We lose the hearing for Norby. He'll make $4.4 million. Otto Lopez is going to make $6 million. They actually sided with us on Ryan Weathers. $12 million is his salary. Whoa, Xavier Edwards just destroyed us in that hearing. He was an all-star last year, so maybe that's why he gets such a big jump, because I can't see it being that he's an 80 overall now. So as of right now, we are spending most of our budget this year, and payroll has jumped up $162 million apparently this year. And we're going to be trading Ryan Weathers to the Houston Astros, where he'll probably be their 4th highest rated pitcher. And we're going to be adding another outfielder. This is going to be Isaiah Jimenez, switch hitter with B potential. He's 23 years old. So he's got to develop a good bit here in the next couple of years to really have a chance. But there is a ceiling here, good contact, vision and clutch are in okay spots right now. Defense very much a work in progress. Out of all my options, I felt like this was one of the more intriguing with some upsides. So that's the move we're going to make. Noelvi Marte was just waived. 73 overall, 26 years old. Sure, let's put a claim in here. It's spring training. He has good contact. Vision at 58, clutch at 62, and he's only 26 years old, so he could still develop a good bit. And if it doesn't work out, then we can always just waive him. Doesn't really cost us anything to make this move. We took it pretty easy this year in the offseason. I think the answers for us are more so in the minor leagues than in free agency. I'm excited in year 4 to see the development of players like Chet Sparbory. I did think about calling him up to play in spring training and compete for a spot this year, but I think I'll probably manipulate the service time instead and more so play him at AAA the first month or so and see where things go. But he should be at the bigs sometime this year, and he's a reason why I didn't want to really seek out an outfielder too heavily. There's still the development of Drew Jones at the same time. If this team isn't really in win-now mode, then I don't see the need to stack this roster with veterans when the playing time could be going to developing players. Joe Brown is going to be at the bigs at some point this year, but getting hurt last year, well, it seems he's healthy now. Is he back from the torn ACL? It's not affecting him right now, so we should see him sometime in year 4. This is where I really wish I could have non-roster invites to spring training and get guys like Sparbory and Joe Brown those reps without calling them up to the majors on the 40-man roster and then burning an option when they inevitably don't make the team. I did not do any service time manipulation when it came to Hank Holder, of course, but on some of these other prospects, I probably will. I think all we have to do is keep a guy in the minor leagues for like 3 weeks, and then they won't have enough service time that year to accrue a full season. But that'll give us a chance to play guys like Griffin Conine, Alec Thomas early on, and see if they can hold off the likes of Jones and Sparbory. And then we got some brand new players to start developing this season, and I'm really excited to see if we can have our future closer breakout soon. Brian Ariano is going to be starting off down at AA, and hopefully it's a quick road to him becoming the major league closer. I also think Aaron Jackson could be on the fast track. He starts off as a 74, and his potential is a 79. So there's not a whole lot to wait around for, as he can push guys like Connor Norby and give us some more depth there at a pretty high overall already. I mean, he's the same overall as first-rounder Johnny Grieve. We see Jackson has a little bit better power. Grieve has the edge when it comes to defense and overall contact. Oh yeah, and we've claimed Noelvi Marte. Third base suddenly has a lot of depth now. And I had thought when we claimed him, he would be on the major league roster, but no, he's actually at AAA. And I think I'd like him to stay there then and have a chance to develop a little bit and then maybe bring him up to the big league roster. This kind of gives us a gift right now. It's almost like, it kind of feels like we're giving him a 4th option right now. So we're going to take advantage of that. He's a very young player who doesn't even have a quarter of a year of service time. Yuri Perez bruised his hand in his first spring training start. He should be just fine. And I'm aware that this offseason, could have been an email. So we're going to get a little spring training action in here now. The big addition was Jordan Hicks. We upgrade over Ryan Weathers, I believe, with a pitcher that has some more strikeout upside. And he's coming off a career year. If we get the Jordan Hicks of last year, this is a great signing for us. And I think we are in that position now where if things go right and we stay healthy, this could be a playoff team. We could sneak into the wild card. We were less than 10 games out last year. And with a team young and ascending, why couldn't we close that gap in a year? So let's get a look now at hopefully a good number 2 pitcher with this team, Jordan Hicks. I know he's got good velo on the fastball. That one hits 97. Facing outfielder Jose Altuve here. It's on the ground. Hank Holder, we know he can make great plays, but that one a little too tough. Let's see this sweeper now. He strikes out Stone Garrett. That's what I thought our rotation was missing, though. Wow. That's foul, right? With some of these young pitchers, it can be tough to get their strikeout skills up. That one, I think, just got away and hit Yordan. So getting a little more in predictable strikeout upside, I thought was a priority for us, as 2 are in scoring position now. Got Agustin Ramirez behind the plate. He'll be back as the big league catcher this year. Colt Carrig will probably be the bench catcher initially, but if I feel like I want to develop him, we might end up signing somebody or calling up Joe Mack to be the new major league bench catcher. It's new Astro Pete Alonso with the count running full. And finally, hit to Holder, a run will score. This fastball is getting away from Ramirez far too often. I put it on Hicks. Just trying to throw low in the zone. Another wild pitch. But popped up the next pitch, and that should wrap up a rocky first spring training inning. And they got Luis Roberts. So a lot of power added into this lineup then for Houston. And that fastball command is not very good right now. 3-2 off the plate. It's a walk to Robert. There we go. When he can locate it, it's tough to hit. Just got to find a way to keep some of these in the zone. That's hammered. Out to right. Good carry. That ball's gone. Tried to go 0-2 sweeper. And Jacob Melton blasts it to right. Wow. On a wild pitch, it's strike 3. We're not getting him. His control is a 70. I might want to look at individual pitches and see what they equate to, but there have been a lot of wild pitches already. Nice. Got him chasing that time. So his first impression is showing a very boom or bust skill set. And when he's on, he can have seasons like he did a year ago. There's been a lot of swings and misses on these hittable fastballs, so I think that much is a good sign. We don't have a lot of guys who you can just throw that fastball, down the middle and often get away with it. And that gets through. A base hit for Alvarez. High fastball gets Pete Alonso. I got to learn to pitch with him a little bit differently than some of these guys. There we go. Johnny playing third base, and he could be starting at third this year. Haven't really made a final decision there, but it's a big year for Johnny Greaves' development. I thought he played pretty well in the time he got last season, so now is the time for the #1 draft pick of the franchise. Base hit center field. I still see second base as potentially his long-term spot, but his defense is really good, so I think he'll be starting at third this year. An up-and-down start for Jordan Hicks in his spring training debut. We'll see if that signing is one that ages well for us. For now, it looks like Griffin Conine will have a chance to start or maybe platoon to begin this season. We did see last year in 32 games to close out 2027, he finally played at a big league level. It was good enough to give him this chance here this season, but he really needs to hit the ground running. We've been waiting around for a few years for him to come into his own, and it has to be now, or guys like Alec Thomas, Drew Jones are going to get that playtime instead. I took it easy in free agency, partially so this situation can play itself out actually on the field. So Conine is a solid defender. I like where his offensive ratings have been, but it just hasn't led to consistent production. And I do let spring training kind of decide some of these early roster battles, who makes the team, maybe who starts in some cases. Conine to left center. If we hear that sound, you'll be hearing his name a lot more this season. That is a 2-run double. That's what I'm talking about. First and third this time around, he will face Kodai Senga. That one's just popped up. Not going to drive in a run that way. Oh boy. Well, we're going to see Conine go back on the wall. Okay, that's up there. Oh boy, Bobby Miller. Not this again, Bobby. He was so good at AAA a year ago. Now, I talked about giving him a chance to make the team here again. And I suppose if he pitched great and a guy like Noble Meyer didn't, that might give him a spot in the rotation. But that is a less than good sign. All right, can we get to this one now? There we go. Griffin Conine makes the catch. Bobby Miller gets 1 out, gives up 3 runs. Here's Luke Keeschel, who I think will be on the big league bench to begin the season. I still need to develop him, though, this year, so we'll see where he ends up throughout the course of the year. He still could get some time at AAA with one option remaining. But at 25 years old, he needs to, become a big league player now. Should be a routine one here from second base. His listed position has a little flexibility, but mainly an infield backup right now. Hit one to right. That's turning foul, and it is out of reach. Wow, painted the outside corner, strike three. Now facing their new addition in Logan Gilbert. Two aboard for Keishel. And missing inside. And we'll draw the walk. Now Bryce Elder, and the bases are loaded for Keishel in the sixth. Bounce this one over to short. And it's a fielder's choice, RBI. I gotta try to help him out right now. Bobby Miller, you probably didn't cause this mess. You've only been in for 2 pitches, so it's not fair to blame all this on him. But can he be the fireman now and get this inning over with? Bases loaded. Base hit left field. Hung it over the middle. Carter will throw home. It's offline. 2 runs score. Curveball right to Hank Holder. What does all this stuff, though, mean for Connor Norby at third base? Looking at Johnny Grieve and then making another pick in Aaron Jackson. Norby has a chance, I think, to DH, maybe play a little bit of outfield. But the only value he's really brought has been with home run hitting. So I think that's got to be his role this season. Wow, Connor. That was on the money. He's got to develop more consistency this year. That's a walk. Loads the bases then for Luke Keishel.
Ball one.
As I get some more reps in too with this camera. I think I'll go into the new season with this adjusted fisheye 2 camera. Been seeing the upper part of the zone better. The new chase pitch for me, though, is fastball above the zone because I can see it so much better. On the ground, and Keishel rounds out with the bases juiced. Jacob Berry is battling for a roster spot. I have no idea yet what the bench looks like, but I think we're going to try to move on from Dane Myers in that bench role and get some younger players in that spot. Oh, I didn't think he was actually getting to that one. I haven't really given much of a chance yet to Tyler Soderstrom. I forget his option situation, but I think he could be a capable backup to Jonah Bride. If we move off of Bride, I think he could play some first base. But the chance to add him was nice for us a year ago to see if he can develop more. Up the middle, and that one is getting through. A weakly hit base hit, and a run scores. It's also a very critical season for Agustin Ramirez. After struggling last year at the majors, ended up with a lot of AAA playing time. And he's not off to a great start here in the spring. With his ratings, he's an offense-first catcher. And that's a bit behind schedule right now from a production standpoint. And that's going to close this game out. Another rough start, too, it appears, for Jordan Hicks, giving up 4 runs, 4 walks, and 3 1/3. You gotta give me a Hank Holder AB, though. He was a lot hotter in last year's spring training. Maybe he's taking it easy this year. 2 aboard here. 2 outs, and hit hard to short. I feel good with the swing right now. I'm getting ready for opening day. I just need some guys to hit some line drives, maybe get under the ball a little bit more. Drew Jones struggling offensively. That's kind of the theme with a lot of our young developing players, is the bat being slow to come around when it matters. That's a tough slider. Just hoping to get a piece of it. Alec Thomas hitting here in the 8th inning. Will be on that big league roster, but I'm not sure if he'll be starting day one. And that one nearly hits him. And here's the face of the franchise once again. We'll let that go. For Hank this year, I want to see him become an all-star. That's my goal. I know it's lofty, but it's Hank Holder we're talking about. 21 home runs last year, 20-plus steals. And I want to see him push for 30 this year. That's been a tough milestone to reach in the series. I'd also like to see him break 90 overall, which I don't think will be an issue. He starts off as an 87.
That's ball two.
I got late on that one. Popped out. And then Evan Carter, what a season he put together a year ago. He's going to be a $20+ million per year player. Hopefully we can find a way to keep him around. He's a young, all-star caliber player if the last 2 years keep up. Hits this one weakly. Carter grounds out. Taking off, Estieri Ruiz doing what he does best as he swipes second. And Johnny Grieve attempting to bring him home, but that's going to be flied out in center. We're also getting Max Meyer back from injury. He barely got to pitch last season, but he's now an 81 overall. I believe 27 years old and approaching free agency. So he has a chance to become a player we give a multi-year offer to. Right now, the demand would be between $10 and $15 million, which is where I hope our pitchers end up landing. And I think I have to make some of these moves and be willing to do it a little bit early. Maybe before a guy really demonstrates he's a star. Otherwise, that player can become like a $20 million per year pitcher, which is a lot tougher. And how about the new closer for this year? It's going to be Jose Alvarado. Feel like we kind of have a lot of lefties now in this bullpen. Morejon, Nardi, Jose Hernandez, all lefties. But Alvarado we're going to give those big innings to. Only a one-year deal. Maybe ends up being somebody we trade. Got to see what type of shape we're in at the deadline. If we have a chance at competing, I'll stand pat. Would love to see us have a chance at playing for a wild card spot into late September. Got him chasing here to get the count full on Tom Murphy. And here's the 3-2 cutter, too high at the letters. Runner takes off as Ramirez falls behind in the count. What's that out pitch here? We'll try the 12-6. Not that time. Alvarado was a key reliever for us later in the Rockies franchise over on the main channel, so I've had some familiarity with him. Ends up walking the next hitter. There's a good curve. And now poked over to Conine. He'll reel this one in. And there's the arm strength to third base. And Johnny Grieve is going to handle this one. Mets end up taking that one, and I think we'll leave off there. The team isn't changing a lot going into year 4. I don't think it was time for that. Although I do need to really consider, when am I going to eventually move off of a guy like Jonah Bride? He's played really well. I like his ratings. But eventually we're going to have to find, our next first baseman. Although I did try to sign Isaac Paredes today, so that just didn't work out. What do you think about the team going into the new year? I think we have a fun core that could get a lot stronger this year, but we're going to need these young guys to start developing the offense more than we've seen so far. Chet Sparbore's kind of a fresh chance for us to call a guy up at some time this year and see if he hits the ground running. Offensively, we haven't really gotten that yet. I guess we had for a little while from Agustin Ramirez, and at 26 years old, like, this feels like a big season for him. His career offensive numbers are not going to cut it. I might be looking catcher a bit more in the draft this year just because this situation's gotten a little uneasy. But that is it for today, everybody. We'll get on to opening day of Season 4 next time and begin this latest journey with the Marlins. Do we actually have what it takes to compete for a playoff spot this year? I actually think matching 75 wins from a year ago is going to be potentially tough. But give me your predictions down below, and I will see you in the next episode. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll start year 4 next time.